going to be a two metal divide between those. I don't know. It's just a mess. I just
See
don't
why
see.
I hate modern stuff? I mean, now you're starting to
Well,
kind of pick up some
no,
of it.
I've always picked up on why you don't like it. I think that they offer what they offer. You pick and choose what you like, okay, and you collect what you want. And I like the fact that they're updating. I just worry about, here's the thing about these 10-year commemorative programs that they run is that when life happens in between those 10-year runs, and when something like this happens where you have an opportunity to save yourself a bunch of money, to, change composition or something like that, now you're doing it in the middle of a program. The Coin and Chronicles sets with the reverse proof presidential dollars. Okay, so they're the last 2 years of the program.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just stuff like that that I think is just poorly thought out and really kind of,
Convoluted.
yes, good word.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
And just so that we don't stay all in the United States, the Royal Canadian Mint is continuing the $20 for $20 and $25 for $25 programs.
I mean, that's not a horrible program.
Kind of puzzle me. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, you're all about modern coins now.
Well, no, no, no. I mean, if we had a program like that, I would bet it would be popular as well.
Well, see, here's what I don't get about it. They're selling 4 nines silver coins at their face value,
Yeah.
but their silver value isn't even close to their face value.
Well, that's fine, but they still have a face value. That's just like a silver eagle at $1.
Right, but you know what that sounds like to me?
What does that sound like to you?
Coinage.
Well,
You go to the bank, they sell you coins at face value.
uh-huh.
That's kind of the way it works, isn't it?
Well,
So what's so great about this program?
they're limited.
And won't these coins only end up circulating?
I would hope so. I
Well,
mean,
that's not what they're intended to do, though.
well, I know, but that would be neat if they did, don't you think?
Well, I think that that's
Eh?
what they're destined to do. It's kind of like the commemorative the classic commemorative half dollars.
Yeah.
And how many of them ended up circulating?
I mean, quite
Because
a
at
few
the end of the
actually.
day, they were 50
Yeah.
cents and people needed the money. And
Well, maybe that's the future of these coins. But right now they're just releasing, a certain amount, and people tend to
yeah,
like them. And I mean, it's definitely a neat idea as far as getting interest because I mean, people look at it, you can't lose money because guess what? You can always spend it.
yeah, but here's I guess where it really busts me up is the coins are like a quarter ounce of silver.
Yes, they're not very much.
So they're not even close to their face value.
No, no, not at all. That's how you do it though. I mean,
I don't understand what's any different than this in any other commemorative program.
it's not like they're on the gold and silver standard. You don't need to have $25 worth of silver inside this coin to make it worth $25. It just has to say that
No,
it's
it
worth
just has to say
$25. Yeah.
$25 on it. Yeah.
So you don't have. I mean, it's not.
But what that says to me is if people buy these things at face value,
Yeah,
eventually they're going to circulate.
they might, and maybe they do. I don't know. I don't. I'm not.
Because I don't see silver ever getting up to 4 times what it's worth. Again,
It's tough to say. I have no idea what it's going to do.
that's what it's going to take before these things,
About 5 years ago, I took everything I knew about gold and silver and crumpled it up and threw it over my shoulder because it didn't make sense anymore.
Well, that's true.
So I'm still in that boat.
You're not alone.
Oh, I know. It
Okay.
just doesn't make it makes zero sense. So
And finally, in the news, coinupdate.com brought to my attention this week that clad coinage is now 50 years old.
really, oh, your favorite is now turning 50.
Yes, well, just like me.
It's just a little bit younger
50,
than you, isn't it?
it still is younger than me. It will always be younger than me. You little whippersnapper. 50 years of coinage with admittedly bland and uninspired designs.
At least you're honest.
They now have a long history and deserve the attention of collectors everywhere. The coin collecting of my father's day was basically done from their own pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Culling changed to fill out books and albums of coins by date and mint mark. It was a hobby that many could participate in. But since the release of clad coins, there are very few that take interest in these coins because there are, one, absolutely no rarities,
No,
none,
nothing.
zero, and less than 4 or 5 even genuine scarcities across all the clad series.
Mm-hmm.
So the coins have been minted in such numbers that no data is hard to come by, And there is little to interest most people out there. Now, call me different,
Mike, you're different.
but I am. But I find them interesting and worthy. And I will say that you can't be in it for anything other than love because you're definitely not going to get rich collecting clad coins.
Yeah, well,
You know, this is the ugly baby of ugly babies. It is. So, I mean, you got to do this for love. Now, it's funny because as a young kid, okay, I started collecting coins and did it the same way as most of the traditional people did out of my change.
yeah,
The thing is that when I was little, okay, it's the late '60s. Now think about this: all the silver has been completely called out of change. Okay, they have made enough coins dated 1965, six, and seven to last the next three generations of Americans.
yes,
Okay, so it's like every coin that you pulled out for the next 10 years is 65, 6, or 7. Or it's a 64D nickel.
yeah.
That's it. I mean, that was it. That was all you found. That's all there was for like 15 years.
That sounds horrible.
It definitely, you had to really want to collect. You had to really want to because it was not easy.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah. You can find interesting news stories every single day by checking out our Facebook page at facebook.com/coinshowradio. Quite an interesting news segment,
Yeah,
huh?
I had fun. That was fun news. I enjoyed the
That
news.
was that was fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh.
That's good. I like it when you enjoy it. It's not every newscast I can say that. So we're going to talk about the lost years of American coinage. This goes on an idea that was given to us by one of our listeners. And it was given to us by one of our listeners on our Facebook page at Friends of the Coin Show, which, if you're not a member and you're on Facebook, you should go to groups and search for Friends of the Coin Show. It's a closed group. You apply for admission into our little society, and we let you in, and then you get to see stuff that only we can see, but we share in all of it. It's not like most of Facebook.
Yeah, and there's like what 150 something people in there.
There's a lot of people in there now. It's really starting to grow.
It's
So
fun.
yeah, so this week we were asked to talk about the lost years of 20th century coinage. And in preparing for the segment, Matt, I was trying to figure out, from a historical perspective, why things were the way
Did you
they
even
were.
have to prepare for this segment? This is like squarely within your wheelhouse.
Well, it's something that really interests me and I really
Yeah.
like. But yes, it was like in order to present the facts of it, not just God, I love this. Cheat, you're swell. Isn't she great?
Yeah,
All of that kind of
super.
stuff. I had to actually think about why. And for the most part, for the majority of history, you can kind of measure economic times by the amount of money that was coined by Uncle
Mm-hmm.
Sam. And so I kind of went into the whole thing expecting to find some just absolute disaster of a reason for some of the years where coins were scarce. And I did. I found the Great Depression. That wasn't really hard to find. And it accounts for a huge chunk of coinage skipping years. But we were asked about more than just the coinage of the Depression era. And my thoughts immediately went to 1921. Now, I always felt that if I, as a coin collector, could go back to a particular year in time, for me, it was going to be 1921. The peace dollar was being minted in high relief. Almost every coin from that year is a key or a semi
Mm-hmm.
key. The opportunity to obtain rolls of 1921 Standing Liberty quarters or branch mint nickels, dimes, or halves, apparently they didn't need much of them, because they just didn't make that
Yeah.
many of them.
No, they're scarce.
And the next year, 1922, marked a year in which we didn't make much in the way of U.S. coinage at
We
all.
were way too busy making silver dollars.
Yes, but more than we might think. So, what I wanted to do was start out by letting you kind of flex your numismatic muscle,
Okay.
okay, and tell us what denominations were made in the great year of 1922.
22. Well,
1922.
obviously we made a silver dollar. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's
Millions
millions
of
and
them.
millions.
Millions.
We did make a $50, the commemorative grant, and we did make a gold dollar that was also a grant commem. And 22, we made Lincoln's, of course. I'm sure there's a gold piece in there. Maybe
There's only one gold piece
St.
missed.
Gaudens. Did
That's
we
it.
make Saints?
We made
Yeah.
Saints.
Okay. Okay. Then yeah, there you go. Took me a sec. I got it.
So 1922, rich in numismatic
Yeah.
history,
Right.
right? Basically we were minting silver dollars for like the most god awful reason I ever heard in my life, because the Pittman Act.
We had to.
Yeah, we were melting down silver dollars. We were making them into silver bars. We were selling it to Great Britain, taking the money and coining silver dollars with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we were taking what probably were rare Morgans and melting them
Well,
to make
sure.
common day peace dollars.
Yeah, of course.
And peace dollars were made at all three mints. They were Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now, the only other circulating coin of that time was the Lincoln cent. And Lincoln cents were needed so little, they only made them at Denver. And one of the greatest mint errors of all time, the 22 no D Lincoln cent, comes from this year. And the only reason that we know it exists is because all of the coins, all of the cents were minted at
Yeah,
Denver.
if they had made cents in Philadelphia, nobody would have any idea that this coin.
We would have no idea. They would just be poorly, mushy struck Philadelphias, and nobody would even know. But the fact that they didn't make them anyplace else, now all of a sudden you have this great rarity, which is a really good collectible, and is a grading lesson for anybody and everybody. As it,
It's also a variety lesson as well, because there are several different varieties, or I think there's 4 different dies that they consider to be weak Ds or no Ds, and so having that fun trying to figure out which one you have is always fun.
sure, and it being the only, and I mean only, U.S. coin that is predominantly graded by its reverse.
Yes, that's true. That's a good
That's
point.
only one. That is a that's a grading lesson.
Proven fact.
Yes, but as Matt correctly noted, there are $1 Grant Star Commems that were made in 1922 that we weren't really thinking of. Let's see, they made
The grand half,
they made the Grant half dollar, which they made a total of 81,000
with and without star. They had
both with and without star. They made 81,000. So I mean that's not a lot in the realm of and well, to give you a little bit of background, okay, we had just come out of World War One in 1918, and as with any time of the end of a war, you generally have a recession at the end of the war, because what happens is Johnny comes marching home, and all of a sudden there's more people than there are jobs. And whenever there's more people than jobs, money starts getting tight. There's not enough to go around. The economy kind of sinks a little bit. Production's down, all this kind of stuff. So the economy takes a hit in 1920, 1921, 1922. And this is clearly visible in the amount of coinage that was made by the United States. And, it's funny that this era, if you look at 1920, they made coins, they made everything but silver dollars at all three mints. They were making, tons of them. They were all getting produced. And then 1921 comes, and now it's like we're starting to look at it and go, okay, well, we've got enough coinage.
Yeah, they were kind of
We
like, whoa,
really,
hold up.
we really don't need any of this. So, it's like you have peace dollars and Morgan
Well, yeah,
dollars,
and they had this
that,
mandate to strike like what 300 million silver dollars that they had to
yes.
produce.
And they're kind of separate from everything else. Although in 21, the only other coin that was made at all three mints, well, see, now I'm going to trip myself up because I don't know about pennies, but the half dollars were made at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco in 1921 as well. The branch mint versions of those coins, really valuable in grades above like VF.
Yeah, because most of them are roached. Most of them are
Yeah.
ugly, flat, AG to VG. Finding coins above that is difficult.
Well, apparently they got used a lot.
Yeah, you don't say.
And 1922, then everything just kind of comes to a screeching halt.
Mm-hmm.
There's a huge recession in 1921 and 1920 and 21. And because of this huge recession, There just isn't a lot of need for coinage.